Hey everyone, I'm Gordon. I'm coming here live from California, Chin Rescue. We're here today with Mike Trapp, and we're going to be talking to him about these amazing little critters, chinchillas today. So thank you, Mike. Thank you so much for taking the time for us
Sure,
today.
thanks for being here.
Awesome. So how long have you been involved with the rescue?
We've been involved in the rescue for over 15 years now.
Yeah, and what got you involved in the first place?
We had a foster son that wanted a hamster because he watched Tim Caro. So he wanted someone new to do his homework. And that didn't quite work, so we got chinchillas because they're a little bit more durable. And then the foster son went back to the state. And we ended up keeping the chins and ended up becoming the chin foster and now the headquarters.
Awesome. I mean, I don't blame you if you wanted to keep these guys. They're absolutely adorable. So what keeps you guys, involved? What keeps you driven to keep this going?
The cute animals. They all have different personalities. So, like people eat cats and dogs. Chins have just as many personalities as cats and dogs.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and who's this little guy here you have today?
This is Oxford. He's a 16-year-old standard gray. So he's the oldest one we have right now in the rescue.
How old?
He's 16.
Awesome. He's so cute. How long has he been here?
About a year.
About a year?
Yeah.
So
his owner went into hospice care, so she couldn't take care of herself. So we got 8 of her chins, and this is the last one. They ranged in age from 14 to 22.
Oh, wow. Wow. How long does a typical chinchilla live?
A normal lifetime is 15 to 20 years.
Awesome.
Just like a cat.
Yeah. So let's kind of ask, a couple questions about, just the chinchillas in general for
Sure.
the public that may be really curious about these new little guys. So, where do they originate from?
They originate from the Andes Mountains.
Awesome.
10,000 foot elevation and up.
Awesome. Okay. And what's unique about chinchillas?
Unique?
Go for a small rodent. Okay.
And for everyone, this is Holly. She is the president of Chinchilla Chins. She's Chinchilla mom.
Unlike a guinea pig or a rabbit, they don't have claws. So you don't have to trim them. See, they've got this little bitty fingernail. You see, little bitty fingernail. They're also tremendous jumpers since they're native to high in the mountains. They're like little mountain goats. These little guys can jump 6 feet.
That's very impressive.
Very impressive.
Very impressive.
And they have unique coats, right? Can you tell us about that?
Well, they were originally brought over at the beginning of last century for their pelts because they have very dense fur, roughly 60 hairs per follicle. So it's very dense. So everyone wanted them for those mink chinchilla fur coats because they were very warm. Nowadays, we have all the man-made furs. We don't need the natural fur. So now they're basically pets. So, but again, we have the different colors now. There's about a dozen different colors of chins, and all because people wanted coats of different colors. So in the wild, they were all the standard gray, which is fine, but people have other colors they want to match.
Yeah.
So through selective breeding, we now have the whites, the mosaics, the blacks, the violets, the beiges. But yeah, all the chins we have now are from breeding programs. No one goes to the Andes Mountains anymore. They're protected up there. And frankly, I'm not going to Brazil and Venezuela to go find a pet. There are plenty around here.
For a different color.
Oh,
Ooh, and who is this?
This is Buttons.
Hi, Buttons.
Buttons is 12 years old. She's mine.
Oh.
I have, in this room, I have 4 that's mine.
So about the personalities for chinchillas, like what type of personality would someone expect to be getting when they get a chinchilla?
Well, I like to say, they range like cats. There's long live the cats and all the personalities of cats. So everyone who knows cats knows you'll have the cuddler, the one that will talk your ear off, the one that likes to sit on your shoulder, the leave me alone, I'm writing my manifesto chin. So there is a chin for everyone, because if you have a fish tank, you might want a manifesto chin, because you're not going to take a goldfish out to cuddle. So, you have your environment, chin has their environment, everyone's fine. So there is a personality fit for everybody. But they are long-lived. You don't want them to free range around your house.
Okay.
They are in the rodentia family, so the teeth constantly grow.
Yeah.
Therefore, they're going to constantly chew or test chew. I like to say they're opportunistic chewers. Give them an opportunity, they're going to chew it. If they're free ranging in your house, and since they can jump 6 feet, putting that first edition on the top shelf did not protect it. You gave the chin a goal because forbidden fruit is always the best fruit. So,
Chinchillas
therefore,
flush.
you're going to find.
He is a new rescue. His owner lost his home.
Oh, no.
Oh,
So therefore, all the chins will, they're going to chew everything.
yeah.
And along the way, they're going to be pooping everywhere. So you're going to find little poops everywhere and chin dust everywhere, chin fur, and all your baseboards, picture frames, Netflix cables, remotes, they're all going to get opportunity to get chewed. So no free ranging.
So they need an enclosure.
They need an enclosure most of the time. If you want to take them out while you're watching TV, be my guess. Most people do that. Because then you're interacting with the chin. If they go somewhere they're not supposed to, shoo them down, pick them up, and then you're interacting with them, and they all like the attention.
So what makes for a good enclosure for chinchillas?
We like Critter Nation cages because they're big. You don't want things with a wire floor. Nobody wants to hang around on a wire floor. So all the cages that have the plastic tray below the wire floor are technically bird cages. The manufacturers throw some shelves in them and say, look, small animal cage. Nobody wants those cages, except birds.
They're much more heavy duty too on the bars.
The bars are heavier duty because, as chin owners, we hang everything off the bars. We're trying to create a mountain environment. So you're going to have shelves. You want wood shelves for them to chew on. You want to set it up like a rock climbing wall.
Yeah, definitely.
And that gives them their natural exercise.
Is there a preferred area in the house that'd be great, to house the caging?
Typically, you don't want them in full sun. I mean, think of this fur coat.
Yeah.
Go stand out in the backyard in full sun in the middle of the day, you're going to get heat exhaustion. We tell people keep it under 85 degrees. Again, Andes Mountains, 10,000 foot elevation up. It's not hot up there yet. So therefore, they don't take heat very well. So we just say keep it under 85 because we're not comfortable at 85 degrees. We want to be in cool. So a simple little room AC will take care of that problem. Airflow, everyone likes airflow. With all this fur, they push out their fur twice a year. So except that you're going to have fur. But then if you're a cat or dog owner, you have cat and
You're used
dog
to
fur
it.
everywhere anyway.
Yeah.
So they're going to push out their fur. So you want airflow so it doesn't stick around in the air.
And can we talk about the wheels? You guys, it looks like every habitat you have here has some wheels in them.
We do have wheels. There's a pro and con on the wheels. Obviously, there's a pro and con in everything as far as pets are concerned. You want a wheel that's at least 15 to 16 inches in diameter, so chins are not bending their back if they run in it. I prefer wheels that are at least around 6 inches in thickness, depth, mainly because they are 6 inches in diameter. They run like a rabbit, so not like a person, so their legs kick out. So if it's too small, then they might kick themselves out if it's too thin. Two, if I've got some wheels, other wheels show they're dirty in the back because they keep rubbing their back against the back of the wheel. And if you notice, none of these are dirty in the back because they just never get there. It's like taking that shower in too small and you don't want to bend your elbows out because you're going to hit yourself. You can't turn around in the shower, so you want something you can turn around in.
Absolutely.
Some chins love to run in a wheel. Chins are prey animals, so they have bursts of energy. They're not high, consistent energy pets. So unlike a husky that wants to run 25 miles a day to get tired out, chins will run real quick to get away from the predator, then go sleep for 2 hours. So they have these bursts of energy. So they may burst of energy in a wheel for a little bit. Others just use it as a front porch swing or as a nice, cozy, cool place to sleep. It is metal, so it does stay cooler than the rest of than wood. So we like putting in wheels there. If you notice, not all of them are running in the wheel.
Yeah.
None of them are running in the wheel right at the moment. But toward the evenings, when they're up and running, you'll hear a few running in the wheel now and again. If they're constantly running in the wheel, that could be a problem. Just like people get addicted to jogging. You can take anything to the extremes.
So one of the things I'm noticing is you have some habitats where you got multiple chinchillas in. Some of them are singles. What is it looking like? Is it best for chinchillas to be in groups or pairs? What's your opinion on that?
Kind of like people. And cats. Again, back to cats and dogs. If you're going to give them all the attention, then singles are fine. If you can't give them all the attention, then a pair is not so bad because then they get attention from each other. So it's the same deal with cats and dogs, whether you get a pair or not. If we get a bonded pair that comes in, we don't break them up, so they stay as a pair.
Yeah.
So chins in the wild are, they will form little packs. Colonies. So, groups are not a bad thing. Cages, top cage is what we call a single story, which is basically what we would recommend as a minimum. Our middle line is kind of split into two, which is the smallest I'd have for any chin, but as a rescue, we need more room, unfortunately. Right now, we're a good 150% overflow.
Oh dear. How many?
We were pushing 200. Yeah. So I've got cages in the living room right now because we're overflowing from this room.
How many chins do you have up for adoption right now?
I think close to 70.
Oh, wow.
So we probably got close to 100 in the house. So when people say chins are high maintenance, it's like, no, because otherwise I would not have 65 cages in this house. There's no way I can do 65 cages in this house.
There's 56 just in this room.
Wow.
Yeah, we have 56 in this room, and then there's 12 in the rest of it, 10 to 12 in the other part.
So if we have someone at home right now who has a chinchilla and they're looking at potentially adding, a cage mate, what would that process potentially look like?
Go to our website. We do all of our scheduling online, and we have a cage matchup deal. So you would bring your chin here. We put a little playpen in the middle and basically do speed dating for chins. So we will bring several chins out, put them in the playpen, and that's to get through that initial love at first sight, hate at first sight. So you get down to the pairs like, well, this one might be good, might not be good. And therefore you'll take that chin home, and hopefully you have a spare cage in case they do get there. We tell people that you're going to want to spring clean the cage, change it all around. If you're used to watching the Big Bang Theory, you're trying to remove Sheldon's seat. Because that's where the fights are going to occur. This is my tunnel, this is my food, my water. So we say move all that around. It's kind of like when you get married, you don't move into his house or her house, you get a new house together. So that's what you're kind of wanting to do with the chin. Because this is neutral territory, you want to keep that there. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 times for them to come back to find a chin that fits. It's the personality of the chins that matter.
Yeah.
Not the one that you prefer. If that's the case, you might need a separate cage. We had one lady, folks, that came in. They wanted a particular chin that we had. Okay, but that depends on what chin you want. They wanted Katie. We put Katie in. The first thing her 2 chins did was turn around and piss all over her. I'm like, okay, well, obviously Katie is not going to go with you unless you have another cage.
Right. Did she find one that worked?
Yes. They did find some that did work for them.
Awesome.
Good.
Awesome. So what does the daily diet of a chinchilla look like?
Daily diet is basically, a high quality chinchilla food or even rabbit food. Rabbit chinchilla food are basically the same food. Modesto Mills makes a chinchilla/rabbit pellet or rabbit/chinchilla pellet. I'm chinchilla. I'm going to say chinchilla first. So that is the exact same food. But basically, as long as you get a high quality deal, pellets are their main ingredient, and that's what you want to make sure. They're the opposite of rabbits. Yeah, so we use a mix. So we use 4 parts of the high quality, right now it's Modesto Mills. We use 1 part of calf manna, which is kind of a nice high protein. Equine senior, because these guys have a digestive system similar to a horse. And oats. So 4 parts of their regular food to 1 part of the others. It's kind of like an entree and 3 sides, which is how we eat.
There you go.
So, you don't want to eat the same thing all the time.
Absolutely,
So, so that gives them a bit of difference.
Other quality ones are Oxbow, Missouri, Fiesta Complete, not Fiesta Mix. Okay, there's a difference in them.
We tell people if it's marketed like breakfast cereal, that's probably the quality it is. And yes, you can survive on breakfast cereal, but very well. But now and again, sure. I mean, I had breakfast this morning. All that pumpkin spice stuff that's out there now. So,
What about treats? Can we give
so
them
treats? So this is where we kind of mix up like rabbits. Rabbits require that fresh, and I got in trouble by saying they don't need hay. Hay is their main ingredient in the food. They don't need single strand loose leaf hay that you buy in the store. Rabbits do require fresh dough, and the pellets are supplements. Chins are the opposite. They need the pellets to eat. The hay is there for them to chew. So it's a treat you can always give chins because that's their main diet, and therefore they always have something to chew on. But they're not required. If you're allergic to hay, then don't give them hay. You can try some of the other orchard grasses. Orchard grass itself is less allergens than hay. So then Timothy hay and alfalfa. So you can try that, or you can go with compressed hay cubes. So you can buy the compressed hay cubes, which are basically big versions of the pellets themselves. Or just don't give them hay. Leave the pellets, but make sure they have other things to chew on. That's why we like to use a lot of wood shelves.
Yeah.
So that gives them lots of things to chew on. I call wood shelves the printer ink of chin cages. You expect it to get used up, you want it to get used up, and shelves are actually a very easy DIY thing to do. You can buy some expensive shelves, but you can also make your own really easy.
Yeah. Any specific types of wood?
You definitely want to use KD pine if you're going with that. KD is short for kiln dried. Woodworkers like it because it makes it dimensionally stable. For us, that means it's sterilized.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I mean, if you want to use oak and walnut, cherry, sure, go for it. You're going to spend a lot more money, and the chins ain't going to really care. KD pine is the cheapest wood you can buy at the stores. So that's the nice thing about it. It keeps costs down. Manzanita works.
And also they can have bamboo.
But for treats, you can give them the bamboo chopsticks you go in the stores. If you just want to break them apart,
Awesome.
You just want to break them apart because they all come together.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one might get a tooth stuck in there and then break a tooth. So
Yeah.
you want to break it apart. But yeah, you can popsicle sticks. You can use popsicle sticks after you've eaten a popsicle because now they're slightly sweet with that juice on it. So that gives them a little flavor. Tongue depressors, the craft sticks. There's a lot of little chew toys you can give them. Baby alphabet blocks. Because again, if baby's going to put everything in their mouth, therefore if Chin chews it, it's going to be fine too. So you can definitely use those. Apple peels. Holly will make apple peels and applesauce and peel the apples. Just air dry the apple peels. It's kind of a sweet hay. So that makes for a great treat.
Awesome.
So
any other types of fresh fruits and
they don't,
veggies?
Again, well, think of where they are, 10,000 foot elevation up.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody farms up there. So your fresh veggies are just not existent up there. Everything up there is seeds, grasses, flowers. So rose petals, rose buds, apple sticks, your grasses again.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't really have it. Now that said, we do like to use like the First Street trail mix, because dried bananas and papayas. You can give them a little bit of that, not a lot. Chins can get bloat, so just like a horse can, and therefore they only have one way in and one way out, and they cannot throw up. So you got to be careful.
Yeah.
So and again, they're high in sugar. How many big candy bars do you give a little kid? It's not going to happen. But now and again, swap things out. A walnut in a shell, crack the walnut, throw it in there, so they can fight to it to get to that guy. Give them a little enrichment.
That's fun.
It's a little toy to play with.
Yeah, like after the winter, most stores have got them on sale. Pecans, almonds, walnuts, hazelnuts. You just crack the shell a little, not smash. So, they can have peanuts in the shell. You don't have to crack those at all. Sunflower seeds. It's just stay away from salted.
Okay.
Yeah.
They can have roasted or raw, but stay away from the salt.
Nobody needs the extra salt. But roasted is fine because we all like barbecues.
Well,
So
salt's very bad for them since they do not sweat. It will accumulate in their kidneys.
So where you would put like a mineral chew or a salt lick in another type of small animal.
You could, not never a salt.
Okay.
A mineral was there again, it's not for the minerals, it's for chewing. You want to get them to chew.
Yeah.
Like
So-
a block of lava.
Lava rock.
In lava rock. The pumice stones. Because again, that's, emery boards. So you're filing their teeth out. Either let them file their teeth, or you're going to take them to a vet and pay money to have the vet file their teeth out.
Yeah.
So, vet bills can be expensive. Chins do not need to see a vet, really. They are prey animals. Therefore, they do not show sickness. So usually by the time you go to see a vet, it's too late. It's just like chickens. So chickens are another prey animal, and everyone will tell you how they walked into their chicken pen and found the chicken dead.
Oh, no.
It's Mother Nature's way of protecting the colony. If a chin or a chicken was showing signs of illness, the predator's like, "Whew, I can hang around the other day, and I got a meal." And while I'm waiting around, I think this one might be lunch, and that one might be dinner. So, the chin just drops, predator takes it, the colony pack moves on. So, unfortunately, we as humans don't like that because we want to protect everybody.
Yeah.
There are some signs you can look for. Soft poop is one of them. If they're drooling is another. So they do get ringworm.
Like hair patches, yeah.
So there are some things, that you can look for, but, they do have heart attacks. They do have brain aneurysms, just like any other animal. And unfortunately, a lot of times you never find out until it's too late. So, bloats is another one that, you have to be careful of, because that one you can walk in and, they can die because they have too much gas they can get rid of. So, that's why you
So
have to be
keeping
careful
their
of the
diet
treats.
healthy,
Yeah.
very
Yeah,
important.
yeah. And
Yeah.
active lifestyle.
And active lifestyle.
Yeah.
We had one case of bloat. I had a family come that were adopting, adult and 5 kids. Okay, little debate. So I gave the kids a handful of treats so I could talk to the adults, and we kept them. Well, they had one that was begging. Oh, it was so cute. Put its nose up and
Two brothers.
hands up, and he got too many treats. It got bloat that night. He had to run to the emergency with him.
Okay.
So
The moderation is very
Moderation.
important.
Well,
Rules to live by
Yeah.
for all of us.
It was,
variety is the spice of life. Everything in moderation.
Yep.
Some things more moderated than others.
So I think we have some questions.
Yeah, we
Sure.
have some questions
What's the questions?
from some questions from people watching right now, actually. So
Sweet. Hi,
we
folks.
have Alexis in Oakland's wondering what's the process with the dust bath, and I see this little guy up in the top here is in a dust bath right now, hanging out. So can you kind of explain the dust bath process? How often you do it? What's it for?
Well, dust baths for a chin, they don't take baths. Their fur is so thick that if they were to get wet, excuse me, if they were to get wet, it takes a long time to dry them out. You typically don't want to use a hair dryer because it can get very hot. If you do use a hair dryer, you want to make sure it stays on cold, and put your finger in front of the blower, at least one finger in front of the blower, so if it ever does swap to hot, your finger's going to get hot just before the chin does. And that's the main thing. Otherwise, you want to pat them down a lot and then let them roll in the dust, because the dust there, it's light, fluffy dust, and the idea is that it absorbs all the oils off their fur and into the dust. That's why they roll in dust. Chins can get wet. The myth is that chins can never get wet. No, they can get wet. It rains up in the mountains. No chins are running around with umbrellas, so they will get wet. It's just that they're out in the sun a bit, they can get dried off. And then they will roll in the dust and dry themselves off. We need to replicate that. So pat them down, deal. If you truly need to get wet and soaked, you can do that. Pet wipes, baby wipes will take off most of the stuff off the top of the skin. Fur just fine without worrying about it. But dust baths, you want to dust at least once a week. The idea is that it really comes down to how many times do you hold the chin. We all have oils on our hands. If you hold the chins every day, they're probably going to need a dust bath 2 to 3 times a week.
Okay.
I like to say if they start looking like bed hair, they need a dust bath. And dust baths are simply, a tablespoon of dust in a bowl, on a flat surface. You can put them on the floor and let them roll in it for like 15 minutes. So they don't need more than that. We'll tell people to use the bathtub, because you can always put it in the bathtub. You can just lay it in the bathtub. When they're done, turn on the bathroom fan, keeps the dust in the room, wash it down. Go with your hand one time over the chin to get all the excess dust off the chin before you let them put them back in your room.
Is there anything special that needs to be done, or do chinchillas instinctively utilize it?
Oh, chins instinctively know to use it.
Awesome.
Just like we know to go use the hot tub. So you don't want to leave the dust bath in the cage because they will sit in there all the time, just like we would stay in the hot tub all day long.
That little guy's been in there for a little bit today.
Yeah.
Enjoying the tub.
You know, when you're a rescue, you're not always moving around like you need to.
So we have another question from Linda in Walnut Creek asking if chinchillas can be trained.
They average 15 to 20 years. Time and patience is on your side. So yes, some people have trained chins.
That's great.
Other people haven't, but yeah, it's time and patience are on your side.
Okay. Any specifics that can go into training, like any?
That I don't know.
No, okay.
I don't have the time, patience, and too many chins.
If your hands full.
There was a lady that did agility training for dogs that taught a chinchilla to go through a little bitty mini train.
Awesome, that's so cute.
And I'm going, that's amazing. Let's see if I can find somebody who can take a bath. They've all got baths yesterday.
You want to see someone take a bath today?
Let's see.
Let's see.
Yeah, try to stop. It's easier to get the camera into.
We got his attention.
Mm-hmm.
And who is this?
So we use these dust baths. You typically try to keep plastic out of their cages because they constantly chew. And the reason you don't like plastic is that it's not organic, so it cannot be digested. So chins are chew everything, so essentially you're giving a chin kidney stones.
Oh.
So hence you want to keep plastic out of their cage. Soft plastic is worse than hard plastic. Dust houses are very hard plastic, so they're not going to be able to get much off it. So sometimes this is where you need to train the chin to use it.
No,
so
they all got a dust bath yesterday, so they're not in big need of a dust bath. I just wanted everybody to
So
be fluffy.
cute.
And who are these chinchillas?
But you don't, there are basically 3 mines for dust baths and like 2 dozen different brands, all from 3 mines. Kind of like Frigidaire freezers. They're all Frigidaires, even though they may be by a Amana or Kenmore or something. Basically, it just has to be light, fluffy, absorbent dust. You can use baby powder, talcum powder, cornstarch. The question is, sometimes if you're using cornstarch, be careful that they might figure out they can eat it. We had one chin that liked to, ooh, look, I can roll a bit, eat a bit, roll a bit, and I never have to leave again. And he didn't. Hence his name was Jabba the Chin. But if you're allergic to the concrete mix, you can try other dust as well. And another reason why we say use the bathroom, it's typically the most chin-safe room in the house, being metal and porcelain, has a fan, and therefore you do it in the bathtub, rinse down, so it keeps it contained into that room. So.
All right. Let's see. We have another question here from Aaron. I'm wondering if you can take chinchillas on walks outside with a harness and leash.
Good luck on that. There's one testing out.
Here we go. It's bath time. Oop.
Yeah, good luck on taking them for a walk in a harness. One, again, they have roughly an inch of fur all the way around them. So trying to put on a harness, you're going to think you're strangling the chin. 2, if you take them for a walk outside, it could be very hot and in full sun. And therefore, they're not going to enjoy that as well either. They're not going to walk at the same length you walk. So, they're going to hop, stop, they're going to want to climb on everything. So no, we don't recommend that at all. These guys are parkour experts. So if they get loose in your house, they're all over the place since they can jump 6 feet and are very fast. You're going to have a fun time trying to catch them. I like to say that they do like the Jackie Chan maneuvers. They're going to use everything and everything in that house to get around. They have opposable thumbs. So just because you're in a critter nation cage, they will use this as a ladder. So they don't need ramps in their cage because they can use this as a ladder. Therefore, ramps are not needed because they just take up space in the middle of your cage where you want to be. If you really need a ramp, take a wood shelf and mount it at an angle. And hence you have a deal. You might want to do that anyway as a different surface to parkour off of, or the chin might want to slide. So, you know, it's never a bad thing.
Slide.
So, you know, if we have a lot of families that, you know, may have a dog or cat, other types of pets at home, you know, how do chinchillas get along? Again, I'm sure there's nuances in there, but how do they get along with other types of animals?
It's not the chin's question. It's a question of how does your dog and cat get along with chins? If you have one of the terrier breeds of dogs that were bred to chase small animals, probably not the best thing to have with a chin. Same thing with cats. Otherwise, the chins can get along with cats. As you see, we have dogs, we have cats, we have cages in the middle of the living room. We've had chins that like to watch TV and have played with the dogs. They go to the edge of the cage, dog goes to the edge of the cage, they bark, they go away, they come back, they bark, they go away, they come back. The cats will lay on top of the cage, and the chins, one time the cat left its tail kind of dangling a little too close on a ferret nation top, and kind of, the chin went up and nibbled at it like, is this chewable? Cat jumped straight up. So you might want a critter nation versus a ferret nation if you have a cat, because paws will reach through, where they can't on a critter nation. Otherwise, the chin's like, I'm safe in this cage. I don't care. So it really kind of depends on the dog or the cat. And the same thing with kids. You know, are kids good with other animals?
Yeah.
You know, and not so much as the chin's good with the kid as the kid good with other animals.
I'm sure my kids are watching right now and want me to come home with someone, all of them.
I like to say chins make great apartment pets. Their pee and their poop have practically no smell, so you clean the cage once a week, twice a month. They're not big barkers, so the neighbors won't complain about noise. And they don't need those walks every day or even out of cage time. So therefore, you know, they make great apartment pets. They are crepuscular, is the term for dawn and dusk, because they're prey animals. So they want to be awake when the predators are asleep. A lot of people say we don't have time for the pets. Well, they're most awake at dawn and dusk. When are you typically home from work? Dawn and dusk.
Yeah.
Give them some good quality time at those times. In the middle of the day, they're sleeping. So they don't care if you're at school or at work, because they're sleeping. Granted, if you're a light sleeper, maybe don't have the cage in your room right away, because they are going to make noise at night, but no worse than a grandmother-grandfather clock. So, and everyone gets used to the grandmother-grandfather clock going off every hour, quarter hour. Yeah. After a while, you will get used to the noise and the sounds, just like all the sounds in your house. Then you go on a vacation, you'll be awake half the night, because where's my chin? They don't hear it.
All right, let's see here. We have one last question from people that are watching right now. It's, where are the chinchillas mainly coming from for the rescue? Are they mostly pulled from shelters, surrenders, or found?
We will get them from shelters. All chins are, again, they are from breeders or pet stores. Unfortunately, pet stores do not know how to adopt a chin. They really need to be adopted like cats and dogs. And you can't get those at pet stores anymore. You need to know their personality. So a lot of folks will get them, which is why we're overloaded with 2-year-old standards right now, because pet stores sell them at 6 months, and we're 18 months into the pandemic. So everyone got them when they wanted all the pets.
Yeah.
So you need to know what you're getting when you get a chin. So a lot of times when you get them from the pet stores, they don't. And it's not against the employees of the pet store. They're never hired to know what they are. They're selling product, chins are another product. So we will get them from people that, you know, did not know what they were getting themselves into. Oh, these live 15 to 20 years? I thought it was like a rabbit, maybe 6 or 7. Like, no. And because of long life, kids will get them when they're young, then go off to college.
Yeah.
Mom was not prepared to raise a chinchilla, and so we get them back in. We'll get them back in because owners have died, gone into assisted living, because they're so long lived. And then all the other changes of life deals, the same for cats and dogs and rabbits that end up in the rescue. So most of the rescues we get are from owners surrendered. They brought them in. We've had a few come in from breeders that just want to get out of the business, and they basically dump them. And then we'll get them from the shelters as they may be found running loose. We used to have one called Marty McFly, who was found in an AMC theater because obviously it was a hot day, and they didn't have AC, so they went to the theater with their chin, and the chin got loose. And they were not going to tell the theater management I lost my pet. So they just kind of left, and then the theater folks found it later that night while cleaning.
Oh my gosh.
And surrendered it.
So if we have people at home watching right now, which we do, how do what is the best way for them to know if a chinchilla is going to be right for them?
Well, that's always a hard question to answer. We do 2-hour informational appointments. So adoption/informational appointment. The idea is that you will come here for 2 hours, and we will show you lots of chins. You will hold lots of chins, so you can find a chin that meshes your personality. We walk you through Chin 101, and so you know exactly what you're getting into if you adopt a chin. And if it find out it doesn't work for you, great, fine. You are now a knowledgeable, informed person, which is always much better. And maybe somebody else who wants a chin, you'll be able to help them. And if you find one, great. We are a no-kill facility, so my retirement has been planned here. So these chins aren't going anywhere. So
it's a good way to retire.
If they find a home, great. If they don't find a home, that just means I won't be able to take more surrenders in. We'll have to lead them somewhere else.
We've had Ursula 8 years.
Yeah, we've had some chins for 8 years now because they just have not found that perfect person.
So for our viewers at home, come get Ursula a home here.
Ursula is one of those, she's an older woman, that's the grumpy old woman, and so it's going to take that right personality for her. But I mean, chins, we've had chins that hate men, that every time I walk by the cage, they spray at me. And yet, we've had chins that hate us. And then someone comes in, and this is the sweetest chin you have. And we're like, really? Because they will love one person, hate the next. So you really want everyone in the family is going to be dealing with the chin to come and see the chin.
Yeah.
Because you don't want somebody that's like, loves mom, hates dad, and now that dad has to take care of the chin for a week, might not be such a good thing.
Yeah. So I'm gonna need to hold one.
Sure. I'll let you know all the chin personalities.
I have been calm and patient throughout this whole process, and I'm really excited.
And
this is Jacoby.
Hi, Jacoby.
And
Jacoby's 10 years old.
Oh my goodness.
Very lively.
Hi. Jacoby's very excited.
And
she's one of our bigger chins. They range in size.
How big do they get?
They usually range between 600 and 800 grams.
Okay, small.
But we have had one that was over 1,000 grams.
it's Jabba the Hutt.
No, that was marshmallow.
Okay. That was it.
Yeah.
Look at you.
And along those lines of holding chins, tomorrow for the Pet Food Express virtual fair, we're going to be at the Pet Food Express there in Mountain View.
Yes,
Miramonte.
we will be there as well.
And we are having our petting zoo there.
Yay.
So I have a 5-foot, basically, pet pen. So it's 5 feet high, so we have a chance of catching the chins before they escape. And so people go in and we'll be able to hold chins.
Amazing.
So if you guys are wanting to meet some of these guys tomorrow at our Mountain View Pet Food Express, they will be there.
We'll be there from 11 to 3, I believe, is the hours.
Now, if someone is just truly passionate about chinchillas, but cannot, not in a situation to be able to adopt, what other ways can they help?
Donations are always good. As a nonprofit rescue, money is always good. Sometimes we do foster out for short periods of time. And we may have somebody that's on baby watch because somebody got 2 chins at the pet store and was told they were both males when they're not. So they come in and they have a long, pregnancy gestation period of 4 months. So if they're on pregnancy watch, they're on pregnancy watch for 4 months. So obviously we can't adopt them out of them. So we may, have a need for foster homes for that. We don't have any right at the moment.
Are there specific products that you need donated or prefer to be donated?
Actually, we're fairly well self-sustained.
Good.
In that respect. So, I typically go get Modesto Mills, but it's like you don't want donations of a lot of food, mainly because food only lasts a couple of months. So you don't want to be overwhelmed because then it goes bad.
Right.
So, deals. Hence, monetary donations are the best at that point. That takes care of the vet bills. Every chin that's surrendered to us goes in for a vet check, and those have always been going up in price, unfortunately. But yeah, we want to know the baseline of the chin before it goes out. So we want to know. And we've had some chins that got surrendered to us because they broke a leg. So we had one come in, immediately went over to the vet. They amputated the leg, had to amputate the leg. The chin is doing great. Got adopted as a 3-legged chin. You wouldn't even know that he ever lost a back leg. Animals are so resilient in that respect. So, but yeah, that was a big vet bill.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And I expect that bill. Just like when we took the chin in for the bloat, to find out it was gas, the X-rays and everything. So that's why you want to stay away from that. Sometimes we'll do some extra stuff that you may or may not do just because for training purposes. And so we know what's going on with it. Because, yeah, most people aren't going to spend $800 on a vet bill for a chin. So
we have 2 chins right now. Trixie's one of them.
Trixie down there.
Dixie's down there. He had a huge mass under her chin. Right here. It was like this. And
She looks good now.
kind of like a second chin.
so
A huge second chin.
we took her to one of our specialty vets and she surgically removed it. She checked it. It was a strange lipoma. But she's doing great.
She looks awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, she's
She's
ready to go
enjoying her
now.
chew block right now.
And she's ready to go.
So Gordon, when holding chins, I like to recommend the spot maneuver. So
On the back.
the idea is that when you're holding a chin, the best way to hold a chin is right at the base of the tail there. That is the strongest place to hold a chin. It was called a tail hold, breeder hold. Because breeders did not want to hold the fur because that's what we're selling.
Yeah.
Chins can release fur, so the predator just gets a mouthful of fur. So they came up with the tail hold. You can do that. You can actually hold the chin that way. And you notice how calm you get really quick. So it's some folks you never want to do that with a cat or a dog.
Yeah.
So just be aware. You never do that with a cat or a dog. Chins you can do that with. That's one of the unique things about a chin. But see that way, if you run it like that,
So calm.
4 paws
So calm.
are supported. You have kind of a leash on it.
All right, let's try this out.
If they were to get away, you have a half a second because you feel that.
I'm
tail
doing it.
This is Chinny.
But see, put your hand
She
underneath.
came to us from Animal Control in San Francisco.
Hmm.
We don't know anything about her, but she's a sweetheart.
Look at
Remember,
her.
these are mountain goats, essentially. So a dangling paw is a bad thing on the side of a cliff.
Yeah.
Because that could mean you're falling. So by doing this, you now have down there, see all 4 paws are supported. You still have one
Got a
paw.
loose paw, Gordon.
So,
Let's do this again. There we go.
so obviously the bigger the hands, kids have a problem with that.
Yeah.
We used to have someone who had chins and you'd see this little girl carrying the chin by the feet all over the house. So the chin got really used to that.
That was a show.
Yeah.
All right,
that was
guys.
a party.
We've learned so much about chinchillas.
Thank you guys so much. And everybody, tomorrow, Mountain View, Pet Food Express, come and see them. They're
11.
amazing.
11 to 3.
11 to
Have our
3.
petting zoo.
All right, thank
Right in the
you.
middle of the story.
Thank you
Can't
guys
miss
so much. Really appreciate the
Yeah,
time.
so much
Yeah,
good
thanks.
information.
Bye, all.
Bye.